and welcome to week 3 of the Comic Club here at Montasy Comics. Together, here we are actually joined by creator and writer of Dream Reavers, Ralph Moran. Everybody give him a big round of applause. Woo! Pick up his book, it's a great read. There you go. So, as I was saying, he will actually be joining us today. He will be taking the place of the unknown soldier, Ariel. Ariel, if you see this, congratulations and good luck. And today's topic is going to be art and storyline as far as they relate to comic books, which is more important and why. And as I said, we have Ralph Moran here, and everybody else, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name is Andre Liu.
Sorry, Andre. Yo, what's up? My name is Shiki.
Aaron.
Alan. Joe.
Nelson. Alright, for the discussion, I've chosen to take the side of the writing overpowering the fact of art being important. The reason I say this is because there's been numerous times where the writing has driven people to continue reading the story versus the art pulling the reader in. And it follows true for titles such as House of M, which prove that, you know, things that one dramatic event can change the entire Marvel universe for a certain amount of time. And you know, while the artwork wasn't phenomenal or anything, it was still something that you could read and follow along with, even though you didn't agree with how the art style went, because it was just something that kept you pulled in because of the story. My second one is actually Batman Beyond, which is one of the newer titles that came out, and it follows the newer, you know, revamped Batman, which is in the future, and it's not even Bruce Wayne anymore, it's Terry McGinnis, and it shows that, you know, even throughout the years how Batman's been revamped over and over, the story and the virtues are still somewhat similar, and then you can also see that, once again, the artwork isn't phenomenal or anything, it's nothing out of this world, but the writing still brings you back to reading it over and over because of the fact that it's something that you're interested in, you've been interested in it, and it's a new concept as far as, you know, the storyline itself goes, not the story. And my third one is actually Scott Pilgrim. Obviously, I'm going to say this, the artwork I think was pretty childish. I don't think it was, you know, like any kind of Highlander comics, but the story once again was conveying the point that it needed to. It showed you that even though someone thinks something is against them, they can still, you know, persevere throughout all the random struggles that come through their life. And it was just a lot of random, you know, stuff going on in there, but at the same time there was actually a story there that kept the reader coming back, and throughout all the volumes of that, they even ended up with a movie, so it obviously got something done. It wasn't, you know, just because of the artwork. The artwork, I don't know, some people might have actually enjoyed that style, even though I think it was too crunchy.
Hi, my name is Aaron. I'm choosing artwork because it seems like everybody's doing storyline. Well, the 3 points I can think of for artwork is like, well, one artwork is that if you think about comic books, I mean, there's a really big genre about superheroes where they can just do everything, and it'll get super boring, you know? Everybody has, you know, super strength, they do everything, but the artwork can really, like, characterize everybody. Like, this guy can, like, punch a mountain, blow it all up. This guy can just push a truck. I mean, it's like, it's evoking, you know? So, like, in every Superman movie, every Superman comic, he does all this, so the artwork, you know, it can kind of refresh you, because think about it, there's only so many things Superman can do, and unless they start merging everything, artwork can really help you out throughout the whole story, because sometimes a lot of things are regurgitated. Another way for artwork can do it is like, artwork can really stand out to you, because when you're looking at things, like the things they do, the things they are, even if like let's say they're an alien in any kind of comic book, and they're kind of going through the same thing, like their reaction is just like, okay, he's from like somewhere else, but it can really like kind of relate to you even more. And if you want to look at a third standpoint, that's kind of like for at least a new fresh comic book reader, you can see that if you really think about it, when you pick up a comic book, the first thing you see is artwork. You see one word, the title. And if you don't really like what it looks like, then why are you going to pick it up? I mean, if you start thinking about it, everybody, when you try to pick up something, is because somebody told you to do about it. But if you just go to like Barnes & Nobles or any comic book store like Montasy, trademark that.
We're getting sued by Barnes & Nobles now.
Thanks a lot, Aaron.
No, but when you pick up a comic book, the first thing you are going to see is the cover. And if it's not something you like, then what are the chances of you actually passing by again thinking, maybe I should pick this up? Artwork says a lot of things to you, like, oh, this guy has a cape, then yes. Oh man, this is something I can pick up. This guy's pointing a gun at me, he has a tattoo, this is some badass stuff, I really want to go see this. But, I mean, because you can't, they can say hey, or maybe one-liner of a pop-up book. I mean, in the cover it says, I'm Superman. That's not really going to pick you up. Artwork can say a lot of things for you. So, I mean, that's a really good thing if you think about it.
Alright, good evening guys. My name is Shiki. In this topic today, I actually chose artwork as a general discussion that's going on. When you first walk into a bookstore, you look around, obviously you're going to see pictures like on the shelves and the stands and whatnot. So you walk over, so when you go over there, you first take a look at the drawing and you open up the book and you see pictures in there. That's the main thing that's going to catch your eye. Obviously, you're not going to go about and start reading what's in the book. You're just going to pick it up, look at the picture, say, this looks interesting. I'm going to give this a shot. So when you go home, you start reading and you're like, the story doesn't seem all that, but I do like the artist. The artist, like, a picture could tell like a word, like a picture could tell 1,000 words. You don't actually need words in order to like make up a story. That's why they have stuff like art museums and whatnot, because when you look at the art that's made by them, you can say, oh wow, I can see that he's trying to describe or show multiple like things, or what he's trying to depict out in the world.
Hey, how's it going? My name's Alan. When we got this topic, I was thinking, to be honest with you, that to me, story and art needed to be equal. But as I've been sitting here thinking about it, I don't know, I think the artwork is more important to me. Because like he was just saying, the first thing that's going to draw you to a book, if you haven't heard anything about it, and you just walk into a shop, is going to be the cover of the book. It's going to be, do you like that art? Do you not like that art? If you like that art, then you're going to pick up the book. If you don't like that art, you're most likely not going to pick up the book. Also, the reason why I'm thinking art is also more important is for a comic book. There have been times in the past where they'll have some sort of I don't know if you can call it, not a promotion, but some sort of gimmick. Where like I remember one was Marvel, where they had a month of Enough Said, where all books had no words to them, and the story had to be told strictly by the art. Now, it's impossible for a comic book where you can have the art tell the story, you can't have the story tell the art. You can't just open up a comic book and it's just all words, because then that's not a comic book, that's just a book. So I'm thinking that art is more important. I remember one thing in particular when before Alex Ross was big, when he first come out, I remember seeing Marvels on the stand, and that cover just blew my mind. Just blew, before even opening it up, reading the story, reading one word, I said I gotta have this book. So I think artwork does outweigh the story to me.
Hey, my name is Joe, and in this art versus story debate, I'm actually going to argue that the story is slightly more important than the art. I'm of the mindset that they're pretty much equal, so this is like a 51% versus 49% debate type thing. You can't really have a comic book in its entirety, one that would sustain itself for any long run without both having some type of quality. But for me anyway, it's gotta be the storyline. First main example, and a lot of people have said it already, that the picture is worth 1,000 words, and I agree. I agree that to many images, like iconic images like Death of Superman with his blood and the cape hanging and everything, very iconic images, but there have been some words and some sayings in comics that have been worth thousands of images. And so to some degree it has been that one phrase. Specifically, I'll give you House of M, end of House of M, no more mutants. 3 words that are resolving themselves now, 6 years later. So that's 6 years worth of story and art from 3 words. That's a lot, and I don't know how many images have given that many images from them, and how many words and how many storylines just from that. A second thing is actually Identity Crisis, which is one of my favorite storylines of all time from the DC universe. And specifically, there's a fight in there, Deathstroke versus certain members of the Justice League. Amazing art. I like the artwork. I'm not going to say it's the best artwork of all time, but I like the artwork. I'm a fan of it, and it was well drawn. But what made that fight something more than just any other issue was the narration of Green Arrow speaking as the fight was happening. What was happening, the motives, the design of how each character was doing what they were doing, why. And that's a big thing. Comic books tell, as any story does, the who, what, when, where, and why. Images can't really do the why. For the why, you need some type of dialogue, some type of word, some motivation. I'm not saying art can't get it done alone, but words make it so much easier. And to really illustrate that point, my third example is actually probably, arguably, the most popular character for Marvel right now, and that's Deadpool. Deadpool, regardless of art, it's all in the dialogue. This guy is the sarcastic character. He is really like eclipsed Spider-Man as being the sarcastic, witty, funny guy for Marvel. And I'm not saying that art doesn't matter. Like, if art were absolute trash, then sure, people wouldn't want to read it. You'd lose people just on that. But Deadpool is the guy that if you took the dialogue away, he'd be Charlie Chaplin. He'd be the guy who, I'm in a silent movie and I can't talk, and talking is my thing. And to take that away from a character like that would really kill one of the big driving forces of Marvel right now. And that's why storyline matters.
Hi, I'm Nelson, and I'm an alcoholic. Oh, this isn't this meeting? Okay. Oh, yeah. Like they were saying, we're talking about story versus art, art versus story. I haven't made a decisive choice because I don't think you could have one without the other. It goes to a point of, at the end of the day, of which, depending on what story you've read or looked at or whatever, that day the art could have been more important in the book, and then the next day in a different story it could have been the story itself. There's a French artist by the name of Mobius. He did a 2-issue story for Marvel called with Silver Surfer. Had to do with Galactus and all this stuff. No words in the book whatsoever, not even narratives in the little corners. All splash pages, no words, anything. One of the best stories I've ever experienced. Can't say read, because there was nothing to read. So that was amazing, but that's not to say that there wasn't a story there, because at the end of it, even though it was all art, the art was so amazing that it was able to emote reactions from us so that we ourselves became the interpreter of the story. So we told the story in our words, and we got from it what we saw on the page. And art could do that also. But like I said, at the end of the day, it's either 51% today or 49% the other day of either story or art. They're both important, but you can't have one without the other. If
like the guys were saying, go into a store and you see a cover, the cover's gonna attract you. It's the first thing you're gonna look at. Back when comic books were first coming out, the art wasn't as important. Superman had the vague little S on his chest and doing random little things, but copyright wasn't as important back then, or Batman. Copyright wasn't important back then. Now with the art that's done in comic books, everything has to be well defined and you have to recognize that character because of different laws and copyright issues and all that stuff. And that's why I think the art's become more defined, more sophisticated, but that doesn't take away from the storytelling. And vice versa, the storytelling shouldn't take away from the art. They should amplify each other. At the end of everything, the story art put together, the comic book, the thing you have in your hand, are bigger than the parts put together. They should amplify each other, not be like this is better or that is better. But you do have good stories with bad art, and you do have good art with bad stories. Examples off the top of my head, like I said, the Silver Surfer. Also, you're able to get both sometimes. John Byrne had an amazing run on the Fantastic Four, and he drew the book and he wrote the book. He did both, so he was in control. He was allowed a lot of liberties to do whatever he wanted. So at the end of the day, I don't think it's a concise choice of this or that. It's like I said, it's 50-50, 49-51, like that, and that's my take on it.
Hi, it's Stan again. The first thing I want to do is I want to expand a little bit on what Nelson said. The Silver Surfer book that he was talking about where there were no words, just because there are no words does not mean there's no story. And the gist of what we're saying here is what's more important, the story or the art. It's not the words, it's the story. So in that, I'm going to strongly say that the story is much more important than the art. Because a good story will carry bad art more times than not than good art will carry a bad story. Because people can get the art anywhere they want and they can just download pictures and, you know, but as far as like to actually read the book, you want the story. Yes, a good cover will draw you into buying the book, but the story is what's going to keep you buying the book. That being said, I have a couple of, as he said here, Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim's art was childish, but it was a distinct style, and all that you really need is a distinct style or something completely unique that will just kind of catch you, and that's enough. And then the story plays itself out. If you just looked at the pictures of Scott Pilgrim without the story, you throw it away. You wouldn't want to bother with it. Camelot 3000 was another example of this, where the story was amazing. The art was pedestrian, but it was okay. It wasn't terrible art, but it was about middle ground. So, you know, but the fact of King Arthur coming back in the year 3000 to fight aliens was a pretty cool kind of thing. What I really just kind of say is it's still a book. Yes, it's a comic book, but it's still a book. The story is why you buy a book. It's not the art why you buy the book. The art is just kind of helping tell the story.
Yes, Raphael Moran here. Actually, I agree with Nelson the most here in this whole thing. Maybe because we're a fellow SBA guy.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why. But considering, like, I think the art is like sometimes 60-40 in favor of the art. Because nobody wants to read, no matter how good the writing is on a book, if the inside art is like stick figures, I don't think anybody's gonna care, you know? So I think it's always art a little bit more, and writing is just, it has to be equal. It's a symbiotic relationship. And it can't be more than the other, you know? This is why when I did my book, plug, I tried to make the art and the story mesh together. There you go. There you go. There you go. I don't know. Everybody here read the book? I don't know if everybody read that. Most of you guys have read the book. What do you think?
I didn't get a chance to read the whole thing. I read about 4 pages.
I
haven't read it yet. I'll be very honest. It looks very good.
Yeah, the art is
really-
nice.
In the process of reading.
It just goes to show how hardcore it can help the story.
After much debate, harsh words towards one another, I think a knife in Alan's back.
Bottles thrown.
We have come
I'll go to the hospital later. I'll be alright.
Prisoner, you will stay where you are.
What choice do I have?
We have come to a vote of 5-3 story over. No, I'm sorry.
I knew it.
You're trying to sneak that in.
No, but art beat out story on a vote of 5-3. What do you guys think? Because that's what's important. This whole thing is really for you guys to figure out what you guys like. So this is Stan signing off for all of us here at the Montasy Comic Group.
We're gonna try and come up with something better. Stanley already stole Excelsior.
And once again, I want to thank Ralph Moran.
Don't forget, buy my book.
Read it too.
Go buy the Montasy Comics.
Why two? You have to read
And
one.
once again, have a nice night and enjoy, and we'll see you again next month.